16, it means so much to Dublin. It means a couple of points in any match.
It does, yeah, but it's that sort of vocal support there. It has to, if you have anything inside in your daughter, it has to lift your heart, it has to lift your spirit. It can frighten a lot of teams. But I would imagine with the experience that Cork have had over the last couple of years that they won't be intimidated by it.
How important a factor, or was it a factor, in Dublin's game against Meath in the Leinster final?
Well, a lot of people would say that it had a great bearing, but
because the Hill had not been there for the previous two.
Sure, but like at the same time, the Hill didn't score the goal at the start of the match. That was Kieran Duffy scored the goal at the start of the match. And, you know, whether the Hill is not there or not, if Kieran gets half a chance, he'll have a go and he'll keep carrying that ball and he'll put it in the back of the net. And it's a great thing. It's great to have that support. Unless you have the personnel on the field that are able to execute, it has to be done.
That's true, Mick O'Dwyer. There's nobody going to come down from the Hill to score any points or goals for Dublin today. The winning or losing of this match, where is it going to be, quite simply, in this game?
Well, I think where it's going to be won and lost, I think it's going to be around the middle of the field. There's no question about that. And that's why I'm just going that little bit for Cork. I think they have a stronger triangle around the middle of the field. You have Larry Tompkins and Shea Fahy and Teddy McCarthy. They're very, very strong players and very strong in the air, and when they're on the ball they're strong as well. And there's big doubts about the Dublin centre field pairing. So there's where the game could be lost and won today, I think.
The Dublin midfielding, Paul talked there before, they played average, I would put it, against Meath. Now people are expecting that they will improve in that form. They'll have to improve a lot.
Yeah, but well, I wouldn't rate the Dublin midfielders, but I think the midfield pairing on the day, Jerry McEntee, in fairness, had been out of the country for quite a while, and I don't think he played the form on the day. So I don't think it was a real test. I think they're going to have a lot of harder tests today against Cork, no doubt about that.
And obviously, Jerry McCall, the Dublin manager, is aware of the fact that Cork will put Teddy McCarthy into the middle. How's he going to counteract that, do you think?
Well, the funny thing is, a lot of people don't realise that Eamon Heary loves to attack, he loves to get involved in the game, and the more that Eamon Heary is brought up forward into the game, the more he'll enjoy the game. A lot of people think of him just as a defender, an out-and-out defender. The interesting thing the last day with us, when Colin Coyle was playing wing half forward, playing on Keith Barr, when Colin came down the field, Keith did not come down. He stayed, and both David Foran and Paul Black, they stayed outside, as did Keith Barr, and just be interesting to see if that will happen today, because they weren't allowing any gap being created in behind.
You mentioned Keith Barr. The Dublin half-back line played very, very well against Meath, but I would have to put it to you, Sean, that your half-forward line just simply was not of the races on the day. So is the Dublin half-back line overrated?
No, I wouldn't say they're overrated, but I would have to agree that on the day, the last day, our half-forward line, they weren't what we'd like them to have been. And I wouldn't take from the Dublin half-back line. It'd be interesting to see how Tommy Carr will manage with Dave Barry today, because in the league final they played on each other, and I felt that Tommy gave Dave an awful lot of room, and when Dave Barry gets room, he likes to set things up and so on. If he gets the same room today, he'll do the same. He'll play the same type of role.
But Dave Barry hasn't been playing well long though, Sean. In fairness, he's had a very, very bad season.
Very poor season.
And Fury hasn't been playing well, and neither has Denny Allen though. So I think Cork are having problems up front. You know,
they have big problems up front, and that's why unless those three unless Dave improve their game, I don't think they live with the Dublin backs.
Well, that could be true, all right.
Yeah. Now at the same, sorry, Michael. No, it's just that. Coming back to Mick's point about the centre field, the Cork centre field, like both Shea Fahy and Larry Tompkins, the two of them like to come forward and they like to have a patch, you know, and particularly Tompkins. And I know I prefer to have him out in the middle of the field than in the forward line. I don't know about you.
Sure, yeah. Huh? That's for sure. It's the right place to have him. I can do the further away from goal, the better. Yeah. That's true.
Sean and Mick, there is one other factor to this game today which must be taken into consideration. That's the weather conditions that are down there on the pitch. Now Jimmy McGee is down on pitch side and he's standing in whatever little mist and rain is beginning to fall, and maybe he can tell us more about that.
Cork got to the dressing rooms at 2:20. That's about 5 minutes before Dublin, although the Dublin midfielder Paul Clark was there at 2 o'clock. Now nearly all the chat among the players is the wind. Blustery, squally, and to a man they say it can spoil the whole afternoon. I hope every one of the players are wrong. Now in the lead up to this match, half the Cork team, more than half the Cork team, has been affected by injury. Now down in the dressing room a few minutes ago, they assure me that all of them are fit. But I'll tell you this, If they're all 100% fit this afternoon, well, then Dr. Con Murphy is a miracle worker. What about nerves? Well, 6 years ago here, Kieran Duff and Barney Rock, among others, won All-Ireland medals. You'd think they wouldn't be fazed by anything today, wouldn't you? But Kieran Duff assures me this half hour now before the game, this 10 minutes before the game, is when he's at his worst. He says it gets harder with every match, with every year. And what about the referee? Well, Mickey Kearns too says he's very nervous. The most nervous he's ever been before an important game. But he said when he felt like that as a player, he had a very good game. I wish him well today. He has a huge responsibility. And the key to the game itself, well, in this reporter's opinion, if Kieran Duff can get good ball and run at the Cork defence, he can pose all sorts of problems. Dully will take watching.
All right, Jimmy McGee, thank you very much indeed. Let me turn back to my panellists again. The weather conditions, Jimmy McGee said it was very blustery, and we can see that for ourselves. The wind blowing into this Hill 16 Nally Stand area.
Yeah, well, wind above any other thing, I think, destroys Gaelic football more than any other game. But there in the minor game, it didn't affect Offaly that much in the second half. They played exceptionally well. So I don't think that the wind will have a big bearing on this game at all today. Because both of those teams, Cork and Dublin, they play a very combined game and they play it sharp. So I don't think it will make a very, very big difference today.
Okay, Mick, a word about the referee, Sean, Mickey Kearns. I think he's a very good referee. He's certainly a referee who likes to keep a very tight rein on the game.
If anything, he would tend to be more of a forwards referee. Maybe it's because he played up there so much himself. But it'll mean that defenders they've got to be very careful about any form of intimidation or whatsoever on the forwards, and that's no harm. At the same time, it's going to be difficult for any referee to keep up with the full pace of the game and so on. I wish Mickey luck. I hope it goes well for him because it's an onerous task. It's a big task, and if you can have a situation where you don't notice Mickey Kearns, then we have a great game.
When the players come out here onto the field and that ball is thrown in, there's probably going to be a bit of tough stuff for 5 or 6 minutes out there while guys are getting to know each other. As a manager, Sean, what do you say to the players in that respect going out? Do you say get stuck in and hit them a clatter, or take it easy and don't get booked or whatever?
No. The most important thing is that you go in Gaelic football, and that's the very thing about Gaelic football, is that fellas can come at all angles and go for that ball. And that's what happens, and it's an extraordinary thing, whereas other sports where people would get paid to do that, you wouldn't have half the commitment that you get in Gaelic football. And the ball is there, and you get two men and they're going for it with all the life and main and so on, and everything that's in them depends on that, and that's what they want to do. You're going to get where fellas will get hurt. But the funny thing is that to premeditate, to go out and do somebody, I know certainly I wouldn't condone it, and I don't think Nick has a far greater record than ever I had, and I don't think he ever put a man out to do a man in his life, and you wouldn't do it.
It often will, Mick, at the same time get what we might call shenanigans at the start of a match. As a manager, would you call a player aside at half-time or after a game and say you should not have done that?
Well, I think the time to do that, Michael, would be before they would go out on the pitch. I would advise my players going out onto the pitch to play the ball continually. First to the ball all the time and win the ball. Without it, you can't do anything, you must have it to dictate the game. So I think if you're concentrating on the man too much, you're not going to have possession of the ball. So I think it's important that managers would, above all else, just make players play the ball all the time. And I think that's what I have done over the years, and our teams, I think, played really good football. But as Sean said there a minute ago, it's Gaelic football is a physical game, and you will have a certain amount of physical contact in the game, and good hard stuff is fine. But it's this off the ball stuff, pulling and dragging and that. We don't want any of that in our game, and there's quite a lot of it creeping in of late. Let's hope we won't have any of it today anyway.
Well, let's hope not, Mick. Okay, let's go back to Cork and Dublin and this battle we're about to see. Now, you've been talking about some of the Cork players being off form so far. Is that entirely fair to them? Because they are the league winners this year, and they are still the Munster champions.
Well, they are Munster champions, we know that, and they are for the last 3 years. We can't deny that. But they haven't played well. I saw them play in the league final. They played very well against Dublin, in fairness, in the league final. But the league matters for nothing, as you know. A championship is the thing that counts. And they didn't impress me in the Munster final this year. I can tell you now, they had only 2 forwards playing well up front. But as I said, they were very strong around the middle of the field. Exceptionally strong there. Now, there's quite a big doubt about their full back line, in my opinion. The fellow O'Brien at centre back, well, he's new to the role of full back. He's a very good player, but he's yet to be tested, and I think McNally will test him today. At left full back is Jimmy Kerrigan, and Jimmy hasn't been playing well. So Dublin seemed, if they can get the ball to their attack, I think they could win the game. Now, will they have enough of supply from midfield is the question, because I think Kieran Duff is quite capable of taking that Cork backline asunder today, and if he gets enough possession, then Dublin could win. But I'm basing it on that Cork are going to win midfield, and on that assumption, I think Cork, maybe. I wouldn't be at all, as I said, surprised, but we could have a draw.
Managers always overstate the importance of players who are missing from the side through injury. However, you put your finger on the full-back situation. Cork really haven't solved the Coleman-Corrigan injury problem.
Well, no, you see, in fairness to Cork, they lost Coleman-Corrigan. Well, then the next replacement there would have been Niall Cahalane. Well, then Cahalane is out as well. But I mean, that's a material you're going to be judged on what you have on the day. But in fairness, I think O'Brien is a better full-back, I think, than Walsh, who tried at the last day. So it's going to be very, very interesting today. You know, there is a big doubt about their full-back line. There is quite a doubt about 3 or 4 of their forward line. But Dublin, then again, are weak in the middle of the field. They're pretty strong up front. Well, their back line, of course, then is not great. So it's going to be a real humdinger, I think, and there won't be much in it in the finish, Michael.
Nico mentioned Kieran Duff, and of course Kieran is really the centrepiece in the Dublin attack and probably the Dublin team.
Yes. Well, the thing is this, you can always know about one thing about Kieran Duff, that he's going to be going for that ball, and if he gets half a chance to set up anything, he'll take that chance. And he never wants for the courage to do it, and that's very, very important. But there's also another interesting part today is that you have Vinnie Murphy outside him. And Vinnie Murphy.
If you're talking, Sean, is the Dublin team coming right out onto the pitch. We'll interrupt you for 1 second because the hill has come alive. Now there's a poster or a banner you've seen quite often. Hill 16 on tour. You'll see it not only on Croke, but you'll see it in the European Soccer Championships last year in Germany and everywhere. And what a marvellous scene that is down below us just right now.
Dublin today appearing in their 37th semi-final, and the Dublin team straight away going down there in front of their faithful fans, round about 17,000 of them up there in the recently constructed Hill 16. Cork making their way out, led by Dennis Allen. Both captains, incidentally, will mark one another this afternoon. Dennis Allen, very much the veteran of the side, and the travelling hordes of Cork fans down there on the canal end. And as you can gather, they brought the fan clubs from America and from various shades of American opinion as well. And plenty of colour indeed. Croke Park awash with colour this afternoon. So here's the day's team news. We'll start with Dublin. Dublin retaining the same side as that which finished the Leinster final. McDeegan replaced Dave Sinnott early in that match, and the Éireann Isle defender starts at right corner back. He's one of 10 Dubliners on duty today who face Cork in the league final. Among the newcomers, Keith Barr at right half back and 20-year-old Paul Curran nominally selected at right corner forward. Among the subs, incidentally, all-star defender Noel McCaffrey, defender Declan Bolger, and half-forward Charlie Redmond. Quite a bit of talent in that lot. Just a little bit of drizzle beginning to fall down here. Munster champions Cork, dogged by injury doubts, keep faith with the side which completed the 3 in a row over Kerry. Accordingly, Stephen O'Brien dons the number 3 shirt with Mick Slocum placed at right half-back. Tactics are bound to be curious, but the likelihood is that Teddy McCarthy will again share midfield duties with Shea Fahy and Larry Tompkins. In all, 13 of the 15 faced Dublin in April's league final, the missing duo being Coleman Corrigan and Niall Cahalane. Sadly, the rain now has started to really pour down here at Croke Park. A lot of cloud embankment overhead, ominous signs for the next hour and a half or thereabouts. The Hogan stand packed to capacity. Expected crowd here this afternoon about 65,000, and so many thousands and hundreds of thousands watching these pictures at home in Ireland, and of course further afield via closed circuit television. We say good afternoon to them all, and best wishes at this stage to Liam Mulvihill, Director General of the GAA, watching on TV, and best wishes also to Finbar O'Brien, Vice President of the Cork City Board, also in hospital. Here's Teddy McCarthy. Teddy superb in the Munster final, where his fielding was again spectacular. It really has been an excellent year for him at club and county level. Teddy's first championship year, as you'll gather there, in '87. What a year that was for him. An All-Ireland medal winner in hurling the previous year. There's Joe McNally. He's given Dublin a focal point in attack with his defiant persistence. Made his debut for Dublin against Armagh in the league 7 years ago, that as a goalkeeper. And referee Mickey Kearns from Beltra, County Sligo, taking charge of his first ever All-Ireland semi-final, having played in the 1975 semi-final for Sligo against Kerry. He was also in charge, by the way, of this year's league final meeting of Dublin against Cork. We gather there will not be a parade before the match and that they will go straight into the action. So let's see who wins the toss as they head down towards the photographs. Didn't quite see who won. Mickey Kearns, a very experienced official, having been in charge of 5 Connacht finals in all, including this year's one, Mayo against Roscommon. Speaking of Mayo, their team manager, John O'Mahony, is part of the crowd this afternoon. Very intent student of the action, you can be sure. 4 weeks this Sunday, the All-Ireland final will take place, and Jimmy Kerrigan there hoping that he can be part of the action. Curiously, in each of his semi-final experiences so far, Jimmy, playing in the 83 and 87 final, ended in draws, and they both went to replays. Paul McGrath there, near side, sitting down on the bench, injured with a shoulder injury, and the knee there also causing him some trouble. There was indeed a cartilage doubt before the Munster final, but he played superbly in that game. Barry Coffey, number 7, moving away. And Dublin, who were superb in that Leinster final, hoping they can raise their game once again. Kieran Duff with a worrying rib injury before that match, but he's shaken off that injury and set about demonstrating that he's a player of real class, blessed with superb skills and very fine balance as well. So the leader of the attack, Kieran Duff, his tussle with Conor Coonahan will be curious. Dave Barry will be 28, just 2 days before this year's All-Ireland final. He'll be hoping to have something to celebrate then. Against Dublin in April's league final, he certainly controlled the attack, got 2 fine points as well. Mick Kennedy, rock of solidity in Dublin's defence, having served his time first as goalkeeper and then as substitute very patiently before making that number 4 shirt very much his own. The veteran of the side at just 30. Dennis Allen, the team captain, celebrated his 37th birthday 11 days ago, always capable of a big performance, and already this year he's led Cork to the league and Munster championships. One of the real characters in this side. McGalvin here today, playing in his 6th championship match for Dublin, having missed the quarter-finals against Kildare through injury. A fine target man, good reflexes as well, and as we'll have noted so far, a good finishing record too. This is Mick Slocum, very often the one to be omitted in big matches, but after Killarney he just had to be a near certain selection. It's his 3rd championship match, and in the previous 2 he came on as a sub. The Artane Boys band coming back out onto Croke Park now for the national anthem in just a moment. Jerry Hargan, one of 3 firemen in this Dublin team. He's a fullback who certainly brought all that's good in Gaelic football to the position, with excellent positioning and astute use of possession. And Dublin now going into their familiar huddle. Last words of advice and inspiration from Jerry McCall there, the team manager. Tommy Conroy's in there too. We're watching John Cleary here, who excelled in the closing stages of the league, hitting 3 points in the final against Dublin. Back to his best form this year, having sat out last year's championship campaign. So Dublin then with last-minute words of inspiration, and they'll be wondering, of course, just how to counteract the fact that Cork will probably have 3 in midfield. We'll watch for the commission taken up by Paul Curran, number 13. Whether it will be a roving commission or whatever, but tactics are going to be very curious this afternoon. All the ingredients for an excellent match. Let's hope that will be the case. Agus Anish, Auron Naveen. Dublin running high for the fans up on Hill 16. Jerry Horgan leading his side into what is Dublin's 37th All-Ireland semi-final, Cork's 23rd. Cork fans at the opposite end. The rain still continues to come down, making the top service somewhat greasy. And just an indication there of that sleeting rain coming down. The wind, if anything, favouring Dublin in the first half. Dublin will play right to left for the opening 35 minutes. Just the third ever Dublin-Cork semi-final. Mickey Kearns from Sligo, the referee. Time coming up to 3:40. Most of the critics are going for Cork in this semi-final. Shea Fahy, the first piece of possession for Cork, taken down by Vinnie Murphy. We have the early arrivals here at Croke Park. Larry Tompkins. Kicking into the rain, it's going to be Barry Coffey. Towards Dennis Allen, fisted away by Jerry Horgan. Clark in a tussle over there, and a shoulder challenge on Larry Tompkins. Linesman signals it's going to be a Dublin ball. So very, very unpleasant weather conditions. Keith Barr, who hit some really lengthy ones in the Leinster final against Meath. First sideline kick, deep. And sliding on the top service. Really dreadful timing from the weather point of view, as Tony Davis lines up this sideline kick for Cork. Kicking into lashing rain at this stage. Larry Tompkins. So many of the players have come out here without gloves, and I can only pick up one or two of them, maybe a little more. We'll have special comments this afternoon from Jimmy McGee. Jimmy, your early impressions?
Early impressions are that the weather's going to spoil the whole affair. The wind has increased in velocity, the rain has increased in its density. Dublin have the wind, and nothing of any consequence has happened in the first couple of minutes, bar 3 free kicks.
Mick Slocum to wind himself up to take this free towards Dave Barry, picked up instead by John O'Driscoll, trying to go through defenders. One of them was Dave Foran, the other was Keith Barry. Wins the free outside the 45-metre line. And Larry Tompkins, the one who's coming across to take it. Larry, who kicked 7 points in the semi-final last year against Monaghan, and 7 as well in this year's Munster final. What a contrast in weather between the Munster final day and this afternoon. Breeze and rain lashing into his face. Just outside 45 metres. Cross towards Teddy McCarthy. It drops down, however, to Mick Deegan. Slides away from his grasp, and it's Paul Curran who kicks it out to space. And another sideline ball. Every indication it's going to be tight in this match. Palpable and gripping tension before this match. Certainly a heady atmosphere as well. Barry Coffey's kick. Good deep one as well. Teddy McCarthy in there roaming. John O'Leary making a good clearance to Kieran Duff. Dully, as they call him. Towards Vinnie Murphy. Right around Conor Coonahan, linking up again with Kieran Duff. This about 60 metres out from the Cork goal, in towards Joe McNally. Good catch from Joe McNally. Good distribution as well to Paul Clark. Looking for the opening score. That's on its way. Paul Clark has given Dublin a 1-point lead, thanks to some splendid support work there involving Kieran Duff and Joe McNally. Murphy was involved as well, but it really was that fine catch by McNally which set up that fine point. John Kearns, the Cork goalkeeper, he was the sub in '83, the last time the sides met in the semi-finals. Conor Coonahan. Coffey's available. Trying to go by Vinnie Murphy's challenge. Fouled in the process. 65 metres out exactly from the Dublin end line. Tommy Carr, who was superb in the Leinster final. Coffey's kick towards Dennis Allen, fisted down however by Keith Barr. Deegan getting himself out of trouble, but not a good pass, trying to link up with Tommy Carr, but good astute positioning nonetheless by Dave Foran. Here's Keith Barr, a long lengthy one down towards Joe McNally, and even Joe at his fittest was unlikely to get onto the end of that one. A player who really has trained very, very hard over the last couple of months to get into top match shape for this championship encounter. A poor kick out by John Kearns, picked up by Paul Clark, Dublin's point scorer. Trying to get away, but he overcarries. Larry Tompkins was the one who was putting in the challenge, the referee right beside Paul Clark. So as we wait for that free to be taken 45 metres out, Jimmy McGee.
Everyone expected an overcrowded midfield with at least 6 players there, but in fact it's very orthodox. In fact, Teddy McCarthy is almost playing in a right corner forward position for Cork.
Barney Rock back around midfield just now as Tommy Carr reaches up. Good fielding. Down to Vinnie Murphy again. It squirms away from his grasp. This is Slocum. There's support from Davis. Challenged by Murphy. The kick to space picked up by Clark. Galvin trying to get into that channel. And finally it's Stephen O'Brien who lets that ball run harmlessly out over the end line. Dublin second wide. Dublin a point ahead. And we've got 6 minutes gone. Not such a good kick out again from John Kearns. Vinnie Murphy picks it up, judges the bounce to a tee, fouled by Jimmy Kerrigan, and that's going to be a free into Dublin. Barney Rock teeing himself up for it. This can make it 2-0. Barney Rock has kicked 18 points in the championship so far, a man who broke Cork's hearts more than once in his career. There was that late goal in '83 in the drawn semi-final and the quarter-finals of the league, I remember 2 years ago, a late point then. Soundly over the crossbar from the boot of Barney Rock. As so often in the past, Dublin lead by 2 points. John Kearns forced to miss last year's semi-final because of an injury. To Larry Tompkins, ran well for that. Good shoulder, well hit by Dave Foran. The foul and the free to Cork, however. Referee Mickey Kearns wanting the ball brought back 3 or 4 metres. Barry Coffey, people like Teddy McCarthy to aim at in attack rather than midfield as the speculation had it. That's Tommy Carr mopping up well at centre half back. Down towards Barney Rock, it's fisted away by Jimmy Kerrigan. Fahy here, short passing movement. Coonahan coming up from his centre half back. Into space, that was intended for Dennis Allen, but Hargan read it well. Towards Kieran Duff, Jimmy Kerrigan there too. This is Coffey. So much of his experience gained in attack as he's having a little tangle over there now. Getting to know the man on the ground, Kieran Duff, rather too well in front of the Dublin bench. Very smartly taken. Coonahan losing possession and a sideline ball for Dublin. Wholehearted but inelegant football so far, and the conditions certainly a telling factor. McDagan holds on to his place following a solid, impressive display against Meath. And Shea Fahy, but the ball was out over the sideline before he made contact. Well hit towards Teddy McCarthy. Drops down, however, thanks to the challenge over there of Keith Barr. Through the hands of Paul Curran. He recovers. Jersey tugged, and the referee not allowing him an advantage outside the 45-metre line. And Paul Curran, hoping that history will repeat itself in his particular family circle. His father Noel, of course, was a member of the Meath team that beat Cork in the 1967 All-Ireland final. So Barney Rock once again called up for duty. Point already to his credit. Cork yet to score. Almost 10 minutes gone, first half. Comes back. As the ball touched on the ground, the referee says play on. Towed away by Shea Fahy. Picked up by Paul Clark. The Dublin midfield duo doing well. A lot of hard work and a sliding tackle there on Jimmy Kerrigan. And some of the Cork players bidding to bring it to Mickey Kearns' attention, but he doesn't give the free. Sideline ball to Dublin instead. Barney Rock. Paul McGrath waits as Barney Rock takes this sideline kick. McGalvin giving him the return. The outside of the boot blocked down, however, by Larry Tompkins. And a third sideline ball inside a minute for Dublin. It's a rearguard action by Cork at the moment. Very much under the collar of this Dublin attack. Carr has started well. Good centre. Oh, Vinnie Murphy! It's a goal for Dublin! A goal for Dublin after 11 minutes of the first half. Vinnie Murphy, the scorer. And at least one Cork defender will wonder if the day had been drier whether he would have cut out that one. Coming from the sideline ball from Barney Rock. Watch as the ball was slipped through the hands that time of Barry Coffey. And Murphy just needed that much. Dublin mount the attack yet again in front of the crowds of Hill 16. Slocum going back, defusing that situation to Coonahan. Dublin absolutely taking this fight to Cork in the opening 10 minutes. Murphy again, confidence high, an exquisite kick. And that's over. A goal and a point inside about a minute and a half for Vinnie Murphy. The 19-year-old makes it a goal and three for Dublin. Cork yet to score. What a start, Jimmy.
What a start indeed. What a start by young Vinnie Murphy here. A goal and 3 points for Dublin. 12 minutes gone. No score for Cork. Dublin dominating the midfield, where Paul Clark is the best of the four conventional midfielders, moving around and making full use of the wind and the rain. Good start by the Dubs. Really good.
Coffey, who let that ball slip through his hands thanks to the greasy conditions, or maybe we should say the greasy conditions were the reason. Deegan here, cutting out that supply of the ball from Dave Barry, intended for John Cleary, into the centre. Dave Foran. He's marking Shea Fahy. And Paul Clark, his man this afternoon is Larry Tompkins. Paul McGrath switching wings to get some space. Trying to engineer something. This is John Cleary. Trying to keep it in play. Two Dubliners beside him. And you really get the feeling at the moment that Dublin have the greater appetite. Cork made a poor start against Kerry in the Munster final. But can they recover from this fine start made by Dublin? Cleary. That's Paul McGrath. Good run, trying to get inside Mick Kennedy. Players calling for it inside, and it wasn't released smartly enough by Paul McGrath. And the referee signals a foul on the ball, and it's going to be a free out for Dublin. John O'Leary, who kept goal against Cork in the two 1983 semi-finals. Very experienced campaigner, the first of those championship matches against Offaly in the 1980 Leinster final. That's Paul Clark, doing well. Tommy Carr. That's Curran. Belting it into space. Kieran Duff trying to get inside. Galvin likewise, and it's Davis who fists it away at the expense of the game's first 45. An enterprising kick into space could have caused a lot of trouble. Kieran Duff expecting it, Galvin there too, and Davis did exceedingly well. Barney Rock, the place kicker in this Dublin team for so many seasons. Dublin, remember, playing with the wind in the first half in rain-soaked Croke Park. So a 45. Floated in well. Dublin doing everything nicely. Barney Rock's second pointed free, that from a 45, and they're doing all the scoring. That was another assured pointed free, Jimmy, by Barney Rock.
Absolutely. I'm beginning to wonder now how far away a change is in this Cork team. Will we soon see Teddy McCarthy go to midfield, Dave Barry go from centre half forward, and Larry Tompkins go in there? I think it is very close.
Kearns kick out, and that's Teddy McCarthy, and the referee decided that he committed the foul there against Eamon Heary. Billy Morgan on his feet across on the far side of the field, I can tell you, trying to inspire his defence to weather this particular storm they're going through. And we've just got a quarter of an hour gone in the first half. Remember, a goal and 4 points for Dublin. Cork yet to score. Heary's long kick wide of the target, the third in all. Cork yet to mount an attack in earnest, really. They haven't had a wide so far. A good kick out by John Kearns this time. High in the air, however. Dublin grouping well, and that's Vinnie Murphy. The ball touched on the ground. Tony Davis now coming away from the corner back position. That's Deegan to keep the pressure on the Cork defence. Deep ball down towards Joe McNally, fisted away by Stephen O'Brien. Out as far as Shea Fahy, his clubmate at Nemo Rangers. Deep into space towards Dave Barry, trying to get some change from Tommy Carr. That greasy ball slipping away from his fingers. Barr says, I hit it with my shoulder fairly, referee, and the referee didn't see it as a fair shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. Billy Morgan was out on his feet for a moment there. Back in the dugout now. So Dave Barry, who engineered this free, which Shea Fahy is lining up to take. Murphy now being marked by Tony Davis. Over the head of Paul McGrath. Teddy McCarthy trying to get there ahead of Eamon Heary, and the referee saw a push into the back of the Cork number 10 by Eamon Heary, and it's going to be a free in for Cork, and they should register their first score here. Larry Tompkins is going to be the free taker. Larry has kicked 14 points in the championship so far. Cork's first point, thanks to Larry Tompkins from the free situation, 13 metres out. So 1-4 to 1 point. So the fans now up on the canal end will breathe a sigh of relief that their side is off the mark finally. Shea Fahy very deep approaching this kick out, I can tell you. Tompkins out around the middle of the field. That breaks down to Tony Davis marking Vinnie Murphy at the moment. A switch in the Cork lineup. Larry Tompkins now on the 40, and Teddy McCarthy has indeed gone to midfield, and it's Dennis Allen to keep this ball in play ahead there of Jerry Hargan. That reaches Mick Slocum, trying to set up another Cork score. Paul Curran very much on a roving commission, the marking. Dennis Allen having to really chase after that one, not such a well-directed pass. Trying to keep it on the ground ahead of Jerry Hargan, and the sideline ball. And John Cleary there feeling his arm, following a challenge there with Mick Deegan. Cleary part of the championship set up 2 years ago, and the Cork side that reached the final against Meath that year. Tompkins, the sideline kicker. Dave Barry one of those to aim at if he decides to float it in. Trying to go for a score, I think, and it's John O'Leary gets under it and gathers it well. And another sideline ball as that one ends up in the Cusack stand. Dublin's strategy so far, it seems to me, very much built on speed and mobility in defence, and they really are challenging for everything all around midfield. And yet another sideline ball. "20 minutes gone in the first half. Tompkins once again the taker. And I know there are Cork people who prefer somebody else to take these sideline balls and have Larry inside to challenge for them. Perhaps he can find the range on this occasion. Teddy McCarthy under it. So too is John O'Driscoll, and it doesn't count. It's a penalty. The referee is giving a penalty to Cork. The goal doesn't count. John O'Driscoll buried it in the back of the net. And it all came from that sideline ball from Larry Tompkins. The referee in there spotting a foul. And Paul McGrath and Mick Kennedy here exchanging pleasantries, and the referee calling across Paul McGrath and taking his name. McGrath becomes the first player. At least the notebook seems to be out. Whether the name is going in is another matter. I don't think he did record the name. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. John Cleary is going to be the penalty taker. His side trailing by 6 points, and Mickey Kearns went in to warn John O'Leary about advancing too quickly. So a dramatic moment in the first half. 21 minutes gone. O'Leary faces John Cleary from the penalty. Expertly put away. There was a confidence and authority in the way he struck that penalty. Cork right back in the match. The fans delighted up on the canal end. His technique from the penalty depending on an expertly placed shot, and Cleary's an expert. So now just 3 points between the teams. Dave Foran striving to keep it in play, but it's Fahy picking himself up off the greasy surface over there, and the linesman across there, who's Tommy O'Rourke, having a quick word with the referee Mickey Kearns. Keith Barr marking John O'Driscoll, the man who dispatched the first shot into the back of the Dublin net. Will that goal now prove to be a turning point in this All-Ireland semi-final? Early stages yet. Kerrigan's sideline kick towards Larry Tompkins. The breeze holding it up that much. Fahy, but it's Clark who intervenes. A trip there on Paul Clark as John Cleary willingly takes it away down the other end. Free to Dublin, however. Not with the evidence of the first 21 minutes. There's not an awful lot between these sides, really. Dublin making the better use of the breeze, however, in the early stages. Keith Barr, who only made his Dublin debut in the Leinster semi-final against Wicklow. Another well-struck shot by Keith Barr. Kept in play by Mick Galvin, fisting it back. That's inside by Foran, but picked up by Tony Davis. Nice solo run, good confidence and skill by Davis. And look at there are 4 Cork men around him, and it's Barry Coffey who takes it out of danger. Lovely combined play, showing the maturity in the side, forged over the last few years. That's picked up by Mick Deegan. Back down into the Cork defence, and it's Davis once again. Barney Rock, as Davis was fouled as he was playing that ball away. A high challenge by Vinnie Murphy, I think, and it's going to be a free out for Cork, taking some of the pressure off their defence. Kerrigan the taker. McCarthy under it. Paul McGrath trying to link up with Teddy McCarthy, stopped by Mick Kennedy. Mick Kennedy, who does some magnificent work sweeping across the entire full back division. So Mick Slocum, who's now marking Paul Curran. That's a poor sideline kick. Mick Deegan picking it up with good timing. Down to McGalvin. Galvin marked by Barry Coffey. A good release inside to Deegan. An attack cautious defender. Nice sidestep, but the referee says, no you don't. You took too many steps. And a free out to Cork. Well, Jimmy McGee, I wonder how that goal by Cork, that penalty goal by John Cleary, will affect the outcome of this match.
Well, it certainly came at an opportune time for Cork, but they're still having trouble at midfield. They've been alternating with Tompkins and Barry centre-half forward and midfield, but so far no decent supply to the forward line, and anything that has come through to the full forward line has been snapped up, in particular by Michael Deegan, who is outstanding at right corner back for Dublin.
We're watching Mick Slocum. Two men to aim at, Dennis Allen and John O'Driscoll. They're at Cork's front line of attack, and it's Dennis Allen keeping it on the ground, and it's Kennedy who comes across again. Splendid covering by Mick Kennedy, and Jerry Horgan went across straight away to say well done to the cornerback from St. Margaret's. Well, Dennis Allen was away in a hack that time. Dennis Allen, the 37-year-old, getting there ahead of Jerry Horgan, and watch for Kennedy's intervention. It was vital. A 45. They wait inside as Larry Tompkins gets ready to take the 45. Held up in the breeze, and John O'Leary going there, challenged by Teddy McCarthy, and the referee allows play to continue. Kennedy once again. And here he is back there, exchanging words with Teddy McCarthy. Interesting challenge there by the forward on the goalkeeper. Some referees I know would well have blown for a free out when that challenge was made. So Kennedy, who prevented a near certain score for Cork with that intervention, taking the free. His side 3 points ahead. Larry Tompkins. And a high challenge. And the referee calling across. Dave Foran. 26 minutes gone in the first half. Tompkins, who made his first championship match in the Kildare colours back in 1981. And Dave Foran having his name taken for that challenge. Dublin, who had a good lead early on, still ahead by 3 points, and they'll have to retain their composure and cohesion all over the field to stay ahead of the wily Cork men. Tompkins' kick. Teddy McCarthy down to Paul McGrath, getting there ahead of Mick Kennedy. Nice turn, but the referee again says you took more than the 4 steps permitted. And that's the second time that's happened in the match. Both sides, it should be pointed out, having been penalised for that particular indiscretion. Good kick by Keith Barr. Breaks down to Vinnie Murphy. Davis is there too. Shea Fahy taking the free quickly inside towards John O'Driscoll. Mick Kennedy challenged by Paul McGrath. There was a nudge into the back, quite clearly seen by referee Mickey Kearns. And that's 2 decisions going against Paul McGrath in the last few minutes. Keith Barr's lengthy kick. Coonahan reading it well. Comfortably taking the shoulder, releasing it to Slocum, his wing back. Challenged by Paul Curran. To McGrath. Can't get onto it, however. Kennedy. Again, there's a push. The referee decides. Mickey Kearns, and this time Paul McGrath is absolutely vexed by that decision. Jimmy?
It's got to be said that the 2 cornerbacks, Mick Kennedy in your picture here and Mick Deegan on the other side, have been outstanding for Dublin. Apart from the shot at goal from the penalty by John Cleary, none of the Cork full forward line have had a shot at goal in the match so far, and nearly half an hour gone. That's commentary enough of what's been happening.
John O'Leary ready to take this free for Dublin. Curran letting it drop down. Here he's in there as well with Dennis Allen. Allen now trying to set up an attack for the Cork forwards. Dave Barry. towards John O'Driscoll. Nothing quite going right. Their method not on song at the moment. Teddy McCarthy had made a good run forward into a full forward position, but the ball just didn't reach him. That's Dave Foran. Down towards Mick Galvin. The greater directness is coming from Dublin. And that's Paul Clark ankle tapping John Cleary. The referee allowed an advantage. It reaches Teddy McCarthy inside the 45-metre line. Dave Barry here. On the right boot. And John O'Leary lets it bounce. Oh, this could be serious. Paul McGrath. Oh, an amazing incident. It's a penalty. It's another penalty. John O'Leary was letting that ball go out over the end line. The ball bounced off his knee as the breeze held it up. It came back to the forward, Paul McGrath, and the referee says when he was held, that's a penalty. So a second penalty for Cork, and this can put the sides level, and John Cleary will be the taker once again. Well, John O'Leary will have nightmares, I'm sure, after that particular one. Cleary being told just to hold up a second, and referee Mickey Kearns warns everybody to remain outside the 20-metre line until the ball has been hit. Cleary, who scored the first penalty. This one, with 31 minutes gone in the first half, can tie up the scores. He scored! Exactly 10 minutes after the last penalty, John Cleary levels up the match. Dublin 1-4, Cork 2-1. The two goals coming from the penalty. And once again, the pressure on Cleary. It went the same direction, the same way, roof of the net on this occasion. Cleary's second goal. Well, that has tied up the scores. And it's an intriguing semi-final now. And we've got a free in for Cork for overholding. Jimmy.
Well, John O'Leary, remember the Leinster final against Meath when he played a ball he mightn't have, and Liam Hayes got onto it and made a goal for Matty McCabe. Earlier on there he played one he might have let go out behind, and Teddy McCarthy challenged, and then there was that penalty. O'Leary will be haunted.
McCarthy is challenging again. And it's over the bar, and Cork are in front for the first time in the semi-final. Demonstrating their fine skills now. The confidence is very high indeed. Optimism high as well. And 3.5 minutes to go to the half-time whistle. Teddy McCarthy's first score in the match. In fact, just looking down at the records, it's his first point in the championship as well this year, and a vital one. There was a push over there by Jimmy Kerrigan on Barney Rock. Free to Dublin. And Barney just wondering whether he's going to be needed to take the free or not, and Dublin very wisely opt to leave Mick Deegan take the free. Sean Murphy, one of the Cork mentors in the background there. And an off-the-ball incident I can tell you about. There's a Dublin player lying down on the ground and looking around. It seems to be Keith Barr. And Mick Kennedy's going across to Dennis Allen, as you see, for something that happened off the ball, and a very ugly incident developing right now. The game was played in a fine sporting manner up to now by and large. It's an occasion even for putting out the gum shield there, and the referee needing the assistance now of his linesman Dennis Melia, and the taunting there from the Dublin fans up on Hill 16 as Keith Barr was floored that time in an off-the-ball incident, and Dennis Allen, the Cork captain, called across by the referee Mickey Kearns, and the notebook, I'm sure, will be produced. Well, it hasn't been so far. Yes, it has. And so the name of Dennis Allen, the Cork captain, goes into the book. And Keith Barr there in the background. Something that happened when the ball was down the other end of the field. The referee may add some time on for injuries and stoppages, but we've got 2 minutes on my watch remaining in this first half. Well, they're still chatting about it as Deegan takes the free, deep. Teddy McCarthy under it, is taken away from him by Jimmy Kerrigan, however, and coming out, Stephen O'Brien, one of the youngest players ever, I suppose, to play for Cork at full-back in an All-Ireland semi-final. He's just 19, won't be 20 until late December. John Kearns to take the free. Two very evenly matched teams. The rain, thankfully, has eased off completely. Breeze not quite as strong as it was at the start of the match, still favouring Dublin. Tommy Carr giving the supply of the ball down towards Joe McNally. He fists it in, lovely into Vinnie Murphy. High shoulder, was it a fair one? The referee says play on. The Dublin fans didn't agree it was shoulder to shoulder. Barry Coffey was the one who made the shoulder on Vinnie Murphy. Here's Heary, trying to go around Dennis Allen, shoulder once again. And the referee says fouled on this occasion, and oh, Keith Barr comes in to settle an old score, it seems, on Dennis Allen. And the referee now will have to sort out this particular incident. Keith Barr losing the head completely. Thrown a little while ago, obviously by Dennis Allen, because he was the one who was booked, and is he sent off? That would seem to be the message from Mickey Kearns. Keith Barr would seem to have got the line. He's still on the field. Well, has he been sent off? It seems he has. I think he's been sent off because Keith Barr is taking off the gloves. And Dublin, I think, are down to 14 players. Yes, Barr has gone. But that retaliatory foul there on Dennis Allen on the 35th minute, practically the call of half-time. So Cork now having to play against 14 for the second time in the championship at Croke Park. Last time it was against Meath, now it's against Dublin as Barr is sent off. Well, there was a rough undercurrent to this match for the last couple of minutes. Jimmy.
The man of the moment now is Micheál Kearns. He's really got to absolutely assert himself here. But believe me, this shemuzzle is not over yet.
Yes, some scores to be settled, one imagines, just yet in this game as Kennedy picks it up. 65 metres from his own goal. Good ball. The shoulder there by Joe McNally straight into Tony Davis. Referee's whistle has sounded as Barry Coffey takes it away. He spotted the intentional foul, and it's going to be a free out for Cork, and we are now nearly a minute into injury time. Keith Barr, then, the player, has been sent off, and Dublin having to restructure their forces in defence. Well, they'll have the half-time break to hatch their plans. Remember, Cork ahead by a point. That last point scored by Teddy McCarthy. Paul Clark wanting that ball back quickly. Jerry McCall there, the Dublin manager, right alongside Mick Kennedy as he takes the sideline ball. The final piece of action in this first half. It turned a little rough in the last 10 minutes. Cork drawn right back into the game thanks to 2 penalties by John Cleary, but Dublin reduced to 14 men after Keith Barr had been sent off in the 35th minute of the first half. Half-time score, Cork 2-2, Dublin 1-4, Cork ahead by a point. Jimmy McGee.
Yes, a moment there that Kieran Barr will hate when he sees the video. Young Keith knew he was goaded into that, lost his temper, could not wait his time to retaliate. Not that I'm advocating retaliation, but hadn't the patience to wait to get in and knock. Next opportunity he saw, he took his own revenge, and there's only one answer to that. Off he went. It leaves his team a man short, but they've risen to it before.
Yes, an interesting, dramatic and controversial first half. Sean Bowden and Mick O'Dwyer, I'm sure, will have much to say about that. That's after our commercial break, so please do stay with us.
When Jim Malloy ordered his new four-wheel drive Nissan Patrol, he had his reasons. But there's one reason he may just have overlooked. And that is the same Nissan technology that makes the Nissan Patrol so effective conquering off-road terrain is also backed by the famous Nissan warranty. 3 years or 100,000 kilometers on mechanical parts and 3 years anti-rust. And that's going to please Jim for years and years to come.
When I decided to invest my money, I got a lot of advice but very few guarantees. That's why I invested with An Post. They offered me tax-free investments with a guaranteed return. Savings certificates that earn 40% tax-free after 5 years.
There's the caring examiner, the daring examiner, the leisure, the pleasure, the what-to-wear weekend examiner. There's the global news examiner, local views examiner, the EEC, what's on TV, the lady sings the blues examiner. There's financial report examiner, what happened in court examiner, Doyle debates, how farming rates, and the whole wide world of sport examiner. The Cork Examiner. giving the news that extra dimension.
We're very much alike, me and my brother, but find it hard to tell one from the other. So to tell which one is who, this is all you have to do. Get some Kellogg's fruit and fibre from our mother. It's the different kinds of fruit I find ideal. I like the crunchy whole wheat flakes. Let's make a deal. Apples, hazelnuts, bananas, raisins, coconuts, sultanas, but we must agree it's got twice the appeal.
Before the rough stuff starts, reach for Crown Stronghold. Based on a rugged plastic resin, Stronghold is outdoor wall paint, formulated to last. It goes on, it gets tough, and it stands firm against wind, against rain, against time itself. Your first line of defense, Crown Stronghold. Don't just paint it, crown it.
No artificial additives makes your play the supernatural yogurt. Don't dip a spoon into anything less.
Well, hey, Duplo bricks! What are you making now? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It's a rabbit! Woo! Duplo bricks! There's buckets of fun in this bucket.
When the problem is dampness, paint on the Aqua Seal, the foolproof way to waterproof.
Don't miss the crack at Listowel Races, the festival race meeting of the season.
O'Herlihy's Bacon Cork, for quality bacon, sausages and home-cooked hams.
For all top brands of Irish manufactured furniture, visit Vallencollig Furniture.
Stick, prime, seal with Durabond, the strong one.
For excellent repeat leaving certificate courses, contact Bruce College at Cork and Limerick.
Welcome back again. So as the Artane Boys Band entertain the crowd down at the canal end, which is populated by the Cork supporters here today in Croke Park. Cork leading Dublin by a single point. However, the talking point in that game has been to do with many, many other things. Sean, first of all, your general comment on what we've seen so far in that first half.
The first half had everything at the start. At the start of the match, Dublin got a tremendous start. They got the great point from Paul Clark, and then Vinnie Murphy got a goal, he got another point, and so on. And they got a tremendous start altogether. They had the Cork defence, particularly the full-back, going at 6s and 7s. And then Cork made a few very wise moves, very wise switches, and they changed Anthony Davis over onto Vinnie Murphy and so on and so on. And they settled down, and they came back, and then they got the first penalty. And John Cleary made a tremendous job of it, and he put it away. But then you had this extraordinary penalty, the second one, a ball going wide, or apparently seen going wide, and John O'Leary kept it in play and lost possession. And Paul McGrath went at him, and suddenly you had a second penalty. And John Cleary made no mistake with it either. And, how do I see it? This extraordinary, at that stage, things became very ragged. As Mick O'Dwyer said, the rain had taken a lot of the kick out of the wind, and suddenly Cork were there with a great chance. And then, of course, you had the incident with Keith Barr.
Sean, we'll talk about that incident in just a moment. Let me bring in Mick O'Dwyer for his assessment of the first half first.
Well, as Sean said there, the first quarter was all Dublin. I thought at that stage that Dublin were going to walk away with the game, and they were playing exceptionally well. Even the doubts they had about their midfielders before the game, at that stage they were playing reasonably well. But then Cork settled, and they started to come into the game. I think the switch of Anthony Davis over onto Vinnie Murphy was a vital switch there, and he seemed to settle down there, and he's playing very well. Then Cork came in around the middle of the field as well. Tompkins and Fahey started to play, and so did Teddy McCarthy. And when they got it going then, they were lucky enough. They got two penalties, of course. I suppose not luck, you say. They were definite penalties, there was no doubt about it. But the man that must be blamed there, of course, is John O'Leary, because that was an atrocious mistake. That ball was definitely gone wide. If he had let it go well, they'd still be in front of the stage. But, I mean, that's the look of the game. Cork started badly. Dublin were the team with all the fire and they were really going at it. They died, and now Cork has taken over. And now Cork are going to have all the advantages in the second half. They're going to have the breeze, and they're going to have 15 against 14.
Dublin now have to settle themselves down after that sending off incident, Sean Boyd. And now let us take a look at this sending off. It began when an incident took place between Keith Barr and Jenny Allen. Now, there was obviously retaliation after that. Here's the incident coming up, Sean. Let's see what you make of it.
But that's an incident there where you have Eamon Heary coming out of the ball, and suddenly, Keith Barr came in to break up. Jenny Allen seemed to be having a go at Eamon Heary, and Keith Barr came in just like to jostle them and break them up, and the referee takes his name and he puts him off.
There didn't seem to be an awful lot in it, it has to be said.
No, in fairness, there didn't seem to be an awful lot in it at all. He seemed to be more breaking the thing up, but I think this was the fact that he was involved earlier with the incident with Denny Allen, but like if Denny Allen's name was taken the previous time and he wasn't put off, so you begin to wonder what it was about. I know certainly if I was in the Dublin dressing room, I'd wonder what would you make?
Oh, I would have most certainly, Sean. I think it was a bad decision. If anything, both of them should have gone to the line, in my opinion. I mean, if you were to put Barr off for that incident, surely Allen should have been put off for the first one. So, I mean, I think Michael McKern's definitely made a mistake there. I think both of them should have got the line if he was going to put anybody off.
Yeah.
We were talking about Mick Kearns before this match started. A word about the referee. Sean Boylan said that he would be a referee to favour the forwards. His performance in the first half, Mick?
Well, I wouldn't say it was great. Mediocre, I would say. He left a lot go, and he didn't keep a tight rein, and I thought that was bad there. No, I think he lost his cool there, and that's at that time. Maybe a bit of a good talking to both of them at that stage maybe would have done the job, because I don't think it warranted sending off, to be honest. Sean, what do you think?
I honestly, I felt that if anything, Barr was just breaking the two lads away, like the two lads, Eamon Heary and Denny Allen, squared up to each other. You mark him in, and he just broke them up, and that was it. And suddenly his name taken is put off. There has to be
There wasn't even fisticuffs in it, there wasn't, that's the amazing part of it all.
No.
You've both been in a situation as managers where you've had a player sent off and you've then had to reorganise your team and get them to come out with their minds back on the game again. How does Jerry McCall do that for Dublin now, Sean?
It's going to be difficult for Jerry. The advantage he has is that the wind has died down somewhat. The funny thing is that it's been proved over the years that when you get a chance to settle, unless you use the extra man very well, sometimes it can work against you. But in fairness, Dublin, early on in the match, they seemed very hungry, they seemed very fit, and they'll put up a hell of a fight. Now, whether they're good enough or not is another question, because Cork have changed down the team a lot. John O'Driscoll has gone into the full forward position. He brought Keith Barr in there, and he seemed to unsettle him. Denny Allen came out Dave Barry came out the centre of the field with Tommy Carr, and Tompkins went down the 40. So, I don't know. Cork will have the experience of what happened against us, the All-Ireland last year, and they attempt to work it well, but I think Dublin will put up a hell of a fight for it still.
Okay, as the teams are coming back out onto the pitch, a last word from both of you from what you've seen so far. Mick O'Dwyer, who's going to win this match?
Well, as I said at the very start, it's going to be still very, very close. I slightly favour Cork at the start, and I have nothing to change my mind on that now. I think with the 15 men now, I think they should be able to do something with the extra man. In last year's All-Ireland final, they failed to do it. I think they'll give a lot of thought to it at half-time on this occasion, and I think they'll put the extra man to good benefit.
Sean Boylan, I think you're doing your best there to try and tip Dublin still.
Well, they're not going to give in. They're not going to give in without a hell of a good fight. That's a certainty. And there's something else that you've got to bear in mind, that Dublin have tremendous personnel on the sideline that they can bring in, and I think fellas are going to be running themselves right into the ground. And they have the tremendous substitutes there: Tommy Conroy, Noel McCaffrey, Dave Bolger, and I think you'll see the introduction of those, and it should have a bearing on the game.
Mind you, I suppose it should be said, Miko, that if one is to take that into account, Cork have a fairly hefty list of subs as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at the substitutes on both teams there a while ago. I'd say about 26 or 27 counties in Ireland would be quite happy with all of those guys. And they'd have a right team, I can tell you, and would compete with the best. So, substitute-wise, I think both teams are well equipped there. But I think at this stage now, it's going to be very, very close. Maybe a draw at the end of the day, Michael. Time will tell.
Okay, Miko, well, the Cork team have now come back out onto the field to cheers and boos alike. An interesting second half then, I should imagine, in prospect for us. Let's go back to our commentary team again.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. I noticed that Paul Curran, by the way, has now gone back into a right half-back position, obviously to fill in for Keith Barr, sent off after 35 minutes of that dramatic first half. And Kieran Duff yet to score in the match. Indeed, looking through the spread of scores at half-time, Vinnie Murphy, the only forward to score from play for Dublin, and Teddy McCarthy, the only forward to score from play for Cork. And indeed, only 3 points in all in the first half coming from play. The other point credited to Paul Clark at midfield. It's going to be a very interesting second half, Jimmy.
Certainly is. A lot on the shoulders here of Micheál Kearns, the referee. John O'Driscoll will resume where he ended the first half, playing at full forward on Jerry Horgan. There are no changes in personnel among the teams as referee Kearns lectures the two captains, and that is significant. You do not often see that in public before the second half has commenced. And I think referee Kearns is right. Both sensible men, both experienced men, Horgan and Allen. They've been around a lot. They've a great responsibility, not just to themselves and their own players, but their counties in the game of Gaelic football itself. Micheál Kearns, a great player in his own time, knows what's at stake as well. Come on, lads, it's only a game.
There's Paul Curran in his very first championship season, having had a memorable club championship year. Neither side making any changes at half-time that we can gather. Frank Murphy, the Cork County Board Secretary, with Tony Nation, one of the substitutes in the background. Tommy Carr and Paul Curran. And Dublin going into a huddle. In fact, as a result of the lecturing, both teams have now gone into a group and they're being spoken to by their team managers, and clearly Michael Kearns' words are being taken to task. The message is quite clear: no trouble or off you will go. And Dublin with their team captain Jerry Horgan having a word with them, and I noticed Billy Morgan, Jerry McCall was in there too, and clearly Jerry not at all pleased with that decision to send off Keith Barr in the first half, a very controversial one at that. So Paul Curran getting the words of advice from Jerry McCall.
Just like to say, Ger, that the referee Kearns could have gone to both dressing rooms. He could have told the teams what he's told them in public, but it was important, not just for the teams, but for the spectators of both Cork and Dublin, that they too learned the lesson, that this really is only a game of football played by amateurs. Both teams in a huddle. It was nice to see it. I think it's unique, but whether it is or not, I hope it works.
Cork playing right to left in the second half. Still ahead by a point. So as Mickey Kearns gets the second half underway, Shea Fahy parted by Teddy McCarthy now at midfield. It's McCarthy getting that ball forward towards John O'Driscoll, out to Dave Barry. Dennis Allen waiting now at top of the right in a switch in the Cork team, and that ball going wide of its target, and that is the first wide of the second half and the sixth in all. John O'Leary now the Dublin goalkeeper as Teddy waits at midfield. He'll have to recompose himself after that error which led to the second penalty. Barry Coffey gathering it. Breeze holding up the passage of the ball. A foul and a free out to Dublin. So many Cork fans would wish to see Barry Coffey in an advanced attacking position. I wonder, will that be the plan now with Cork's numerical advantage? Conor Coonahan. Down towards John O'Driscoll. Finger tipped away by Jerry Horgan. A fumble by Deegan. Teddy McCarthy playing it on the ground, shouldered by Eamon Heary. A good shoulder, good defending. And very near the end line. Kept in play, Paul Clark, who had the distinction of getting the first point in the semi-final. Drop kicking it right across the face of his goal to Dennis Allen, unmarked. And it's over the bar. O'Leary may have got a finger to it. Dennis Allen's first point of the match. And that coming to him with the help of Paul Clark's wayward pass and the breeze that dragged it back in towards the railway goal. Allen was unmarked and he didn't make a mistake. Good call by Eamon Heary, resolute in his defending. Towards Joe McNally, that's Stephen O'Brien, a defender with a good competitive streak. Into Teddy McCarthy. Cork now breaking loose of their markers. That's Dave Barry trying to revel in the open space of Croke Park. Dennis Allen. John O'Driscoll playing with a newfound confidence. O'Driscoll, however, about a metre wide of the far post. Such a good build-up.
Now, as we watch John O'Driscoll come away from that wide shot, one significant move by Cork. Larry Tompkins is playing deep, just behind the midfield and almost square with Conor Coonahan. And Tompkins has been used now as the extra man by Cork.
Shea Fahy tussling at midfield. It breaks down to Eamon Heary. Solid and dependable at wing back. Free quickly taken, or intended to be taken, by Kieran Duff. And Paul McGrath was standing just too near. Heary, part of a half-back that won wide praise following the provincial final success. Good catch by Paul Clark, former minor captain for Dublin. Dublin 2 points behind. Held in play by McNally. Good full forward play to Paul Curran, and it's over the bar, and now there's just a point between the sides. Paul Curran's first point. He got a fine point in the Leinster final as well, and just a 1 point difference. Again, one wonders to what extent the breeze was a factor there, helping Joe McNally to keep that ball in play, but the full forward did splendidly. So once again, a game very evenly poised. Curran's kick finding Conor Coonahan. Well held by Tommy Carr at centre half back to Eamon Heary. To McNally. Joe McNally doing very well at the start of the second half, having had some good moments in the first half as well. Linking up with Mick Galvin. The marker is Mick Slocum. The return pass. Barney Rock. Back to Galvin. Dublin trying to work it short inside. And it's Barney Rock, and the referee signals that the point is good. The sides on level terms. Barney Rock's third point. Dublin 1-6, Cork 2-3, 9 points each. The referee on that occasion went in and was thinking about awarding a free to Dublin, but allowed the advantage, and the Dublin fans on Hill 16 celebrating once again. Fans who always bring colour and a bit of excitement whenever Dublin play at Croke Park, or indeed wherever Dublin play. Grappling in midfield is Dave Foran. Dropping it forward to Joe McNally. McNally can be influential yet before this match is over. Galvin. Dublin now playing with a renewed spring in their step, collectively. This is Galvin. Awkward angle. Trying to put his side back in front. Oh, it comes off Kearns. It could have gone anywhere. It could just about have gone anywhere. It's gone for a 45, and Kieran Duff was under that dropping ball. And Kearns was one of the most surprised people of all, I think, when that one came in. It'll be a 45. Dennis Melia and Tommy O'Rourke, the two linesmen here this afternoon. This is the incident. Watch as that ball came down from Galvin's attempt. Kieran Duff was there, and it came off the goalkeeper. May have been Vinnie Murphy who got the final punch. Barney Rock, ambitiously from the 45, and wide of the target for Dublin's first wide of the second half. 4 wides in all.
When Dublin realise now they're a man down, of course, there's no use kicking possession away. You must hold it, work better offensive positions, and that's what Joe McNally, Mick Galvin and Barney Rock did for that last score. Really good one. Good, intelligent football by the team a man down. There's fight and skill in this Dublin team.
And that chopped down with the hand by John O'Driscoll on the Dublin defender results in a Dublin free. Sides tied up. Early stages in the second half, just 7 minutes gone. Carr, anxious to take it quickly and hold possession, sensible, with Barney Rock here. Ball still in play. Joe McNally doing well against Stephen O'Brien. He's giving him a wretched start to the second half. This is Curran. Still in play. Breeze must be a factor, although it doesn't seem as strong as it was in the first half in the opening 10 minutes of that. Paul Clark. Barry Coffey and Stephen O'Brien under it, and it's Larry Tompkins, the extra man in the Cork team. Cork with 15 players, Dublin with 14. Dave Barry down to John Cleary, 65 metres out from the Dublin goal. Into space it runs towards Paul McGrath, getting there ahead of Mick Kennedy. Kennedy fingertipping it away from the corner forward, however. Good skill by Paul McGrath. Nice little pick up. Dennis Allen waiting for it inside. McGrath going it alone. High, and it's over the bar. Lovely individual skill by Paul McGrath. His first point of the match, and Cork go back in front. Cork 2-4, Dublin 1-6. One of the best scores in the match so far. John O'Leary with a kick out from the 20-metre line, trying to pick out Paul Clark, instead finding Teddy McCarthy, shrugging away the challenge of the Dublin number 9, and then the referee says you foul the ball and it's going to be a free for Dublin, 45 metres out from their own end line. Paul Clark the taker, but straight to Shea Fahy, to Larry Tompkins, in full flight towards Dennis Allen, the team captain, and booing every time that Allen picks up possession at this stage by Dublin fans, clearly displeased with the decision to send their man off, and Allen stays on, and that one's gone over the bar from Dave Barry, his first point of the match. Cork open up a lead. Dave Barry with his first point, a lead of 2 points now. So Dublin, having come right back into the match, early stages in the second half, now finding themselves 2 points behind, 9 minutes into the second half. Dropped by Vinnie Murphy, picked up by Shea Fahy, released to Conor Coonahan, inside to Larry Tompkins, to Dave Barry, who got that last score. Again in full flight, Curran, a desperation challenge, it breaks back to the ever-safe Jerry Hargan. Kept in play well. Murphy to Curran once more, challenged by John Cleary. John Cleary, however, pushing Paul Curran, and a free for Dublin. Kieran Duff thinking about taking it, but leaving it instead to Mick Deegan. In the absence of Keith Barr down the right-hand side, Deegan having a lot of work to do, defensive duties. Trying to pick out Mick Galvin. Slocum read it well, but couldn't hold on to it. Barry copied them with a high neck challenge there on Mick Galvin. And Galvin doing his stuff at full forward and coming away from his man repeatedly, causing problems for the Cork defence. Barney Rock can put just a point between the sides. If he can point this one to the right of the post, he's got 3 so far, 2 of those from frees, 1 from a 45. That's his angle. McNally under it, Vinnie Murphy there too. The goalkeeper rises high, comes back out to Joe McNally, looking for support, getting it in the form of Dave Foran, and it's off target. A good build-up, but Foran squanders a fine opening.
Good start to the second half by Joe McNally. Stephen O'Brien really having his hand full in the first 10 minutes of this second half. But a real chance there for Dave Foran. He should have been able to take it, but there's still an awful lot of good footballers in this Cork team. And if they get themselves together and really believe in themselves, men like Barry here and Tompkins is on mark, must surely be able to do something, sure.
As Paul McGrath reins in on goal once again, players looking for it. It comes off the fingers of Mick Kennedy. Back to Paul McGrath. Nudged as he was going in that time, and it's taken by Jerry Hargan. Out of defence towards Paul Curran. Not a well-directed pass, however, giving Paul Curran some work to do. Keeping it in, but then the momentum of the ball carrying it out over the sideline. Dublin making a change in attack, I note, as Vinnie Murphy seems to have gone in full forward, and Joe McNally has come out to lend assistance around the 40. Here he is. Tompkins, sideline ball, finding Teddy McCarthy, taking it on his left. Trying to get inside Deegan. And the referee says he had charged. And he didn't like that attempt to get inside Mick Deegan, and it's going to be a free out for Dublin.
Joe McNally's gone midfield. Anthony Davis has gone marking him. Barney Rock's gone in the full forward line. Stephen O'Brien's picking up Barney. Mick Galvin's now been picked up by Michael Slocum, and Jimmy Kerrigan's gone man-to-man marking Vinnie Murphy. Wholesale switches on both times, defence and attack, but everybody closely marked. This is Mick Deegan.
Trying to find Joe McNally. It breaks down to Barry Coffey. Cleary here, trying to go inside the 45-metre line. Players calling for it. Cleary having the confidence, but not the direction. And another one gone astray, well off his intended target. John Cleary, part of the West Cork contingent, waiting as John O'Leary now gets ready to take the kick out. Kicking into the breeze, remember. Thankfully the inclement weather has cleared away completely. Dave Foran taking that one comfortably. Trying to get around Shea Fahy, linking up with Kieran Duff, wasn't expecting it. Tompkins, and the referee says that Duff committed the foul. More than the 4 steps, the referee tells Kieran Duff. Barry Coffey will take the free. Wide across to Conor Coonahan. Cork with the extra man, leading by 2 points. Kerrigan outside to Teddy McCarthy, dropping it in smartly towards Dennis Allen. Oh, the bounce deceiving Jerry Hargan, but not John O'Leary. Eamon Heary here. Dave Barry in pursuit, trying to put in a challenge. Left-footed away by Heary. Davis, who had such a good first half, takes the shoulder from Joe McNally, links up with Jimmy Kerrigan, composed. Cork in control right now. Dave Barry to Larry Tompkins. 45 metres out, the challenge by Paul Clark. Still Tompkins. Fouled, but he gets it as far as Teddy McCarthy. Fouled, it seems, by Paul Clark. Allowed an advantage by referee Mickey Kearns across towards Paul McGraw's wing. Mick Kennedy breaks it down. It's Deegan here. An off balance and a sideline ball for Cork. Cork continuing to apply non-stop pressure on the Dublin defence in the second half. The message is quite clear by Billy Morgan, I'm sure. Carry the fight to them. Morgan today taking charge of a side in a semi-final for just the 3rd time. On 5 occasions he was here as a player. Tompkins with 15 minutes gone in the second half. Coming out for it, Tommy Carr. Left-footed away. But again, Cork trying to pull the Dubliners downfield, and that's Larry Tompkins, and the foul, the boot going in from Joe McNally. Free to Cork. McNally back around midfield. Tompkins, the free taker, about 50 metres out, lazily struck into the path of Dave Barry, taking it around Vinnie Murphy. Now composed, shooting and scoring. Cork are ahead by 3 points. Dave Barry has 2. Cork now certainly pressing home their numerical superiority. Well, it's funny how a game can turn around in an incident or two, and certainly that second penalty goal, which John O'Leary will dream about for the wrong reasons, may well be the reason why this match has turned around Cork's way. Also, of course, the sending off of Keith Barr. Picked up by Tony Davis. He was the extra man for a period in last year's All-Ireland final against Meath. It didn't work out then for Cork, but they seem to have learned their lesson. This is Hargan. One of the many left-footers in that Dublin defence, and again not finding a colleague. In the last 5 minutes or so, the Dublin challenge really has fizzled out somewhat. Still very much in it from the points point of view, but the defenders just not finding their men. And Barney Rock wondering whether the ball will come his way. Kerrigan towards Paul McGrath. Mick Kennedy. Both Dublin cornerbacks doing very well. And the referee saw some holding by Vinnie Murphy on Tony Davis. Free is taken very quickly. Cleary hand passing it inside to Larry Tompkins, trying to go around Kieran Duff, and then doing too much with it. Back to Eamon Heary, off the boot of Dave Barry. Dublin heads seem to have gone down just a little bit in the last 5 minutes. Needing a score now, just to lift their spirits and keep the hopes alive. And Barney Rock trying to get inside Stephen O'Brien. Jerry McCall on the far side there, his first semi-final as Dublin manager since taking charge in October 1986. So for the foul, Barney will take the free himself. Players to aim at like McNally, Duff and Galvin. Going for a score on his own, fisted down by Joe McNally, and nobody was waiting for it, and that's happened a few times. A little bit more alertness now by some of the Dublin forwards. McNally is doing well, keeping those balls in play. This is Dave Barry. Swinging it across towards the on-running Dennis Allen with Jerry Horgan, captain against captain. It's Larry Tompkins, 45 metres out, having a pot himself, but well off the target. Cork's fourth wide of this second half. Dublin with just 2 points in the second half so far, Cork with 4, and we have nearly 18.5 minutes gone in that second half. Barry Coffey well under the dropping ball, playing so well. Paul Curran getting that pass inside to Dennis Allen. Cork with a greater buzz, but not the finishing power just yet. So Allen once again fails to accept what's a good opening, and Cork are creating quite a few of these right now. This is their best spell in the match. Will they rue so many of these misses, as happened so often in the past in major championship encounters? Heary, realising his side is very much in it, just 3 points adrift, and plenty of time, and the referee not allowing an advantage. Well, Dublin fans won't be at all pleased with that, because Paul Clarke was clear through, but Mickey Kearns resorting to the whistle. Kearns awarding the free to Barney Rock then. Barney with 3 points so far. Under the watchful eye of Billy Morgan as they wait inside. Barney taking those 5 steps forward. It's well struck. It's over the bar. Barney's fourth, and there are now just 2 between them again. Once again, a fine, commendable strike there by Barney Rock. Cork having a lot of possession, many chances for points, but not availing of them to any great extent so far. Cork faded in the last quarter of the Munster final against Kerry as Dave Barry pulls down Kieran Duff. I'm sure Dublin will be hoping that that pattern of fading out of the match will happen yet again this afternoon. We're in the last quarter now, just under 15 minutes to go, and Noel McCaffrey is warming up on the far side. Heary with that free for Dublin. Barney Rock reaching up, but it's taken away by young Stephen O'Brien. The release quickly to Shea Fahy outside to Barry Coffey. Coffey composed into space to Paul McGrath, getting there ahead of Mick Kennedy, threading it beautifully to Dennis Allen. There's a goal chance here. He takes the point instead. Allen's second point, pushing Cork back into a 3-point lead. So a goal between the sides. Dennis Allen the scorer. Paul McGrath doing well to get it into Dennis Allen, and look how much ground he'd made ahead of Jerry Horgan. Might have gone for a goal, but he's satisfied with a point.
There are 3 astute brains in this Cork team now: Tompkins, Barry and Allen. Allen taking up some very intelligent, good positions in and around the goal, causing problems from Dublin defenders. It's just thinking alone. And here's one of those defenders, Mick Kennedy, who's played resolutely today, but Allen is beginning to be a thorn at our Tompkins and Barry. It looks as though Cork might do it in the next few minutes.
13 minutes remaining as we watch Tommy Carr try to get around 3 Cork players, one of them Teddy McCarthy, one of them John O'Driscoll, and he holds on too long, and Tommy says, well, what could I do? I just hadn't any chance to play it out, but Mickey Kearns awarding the free, and you can be sure that Larry Tompkins will be the one who will get ready to take it, and it's Anto McCall, I think, who's ready to come in. Anto, who also came in when the sides met in the 83 semi-final, so a piece of history repeating itself if he gets into the fray. And Tommy Conroy is also getting ready. So a number of subs being warmed up just now. Conroy and Anto McCall. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Larry Tompkins with this free. His side 3 points ahead. 2-7 to 1-7. Larry has only got 1 point so far in this match, and that from a free in the first half. Now, deep into the second half. That's a mighty one. Under pressure. Larry Tompkins kicks his second point of the afternoon. First in the second half, stretching Cork's lead. Well, it's a game with abundant heart and determination, played by two sides laced with driving ambition. Of that there's no doubt, but Dublin are down to 14 men. Vinnie Murphy trying to bridge a 4-point gap now, up towards Mick Galvin. Stephen O'Brien, toe poking it away, but only as far as Barney Rock for Dublin. Inside, Conor Coonahan, or Larry Tompkins rather, fumbling, but it's Shea Fahy who picks it up. Here's Coonahan. Into space. McDeegan going up for that race with John Cleary, and the ball beats them all, and it's going to be a Dublin sideline ball, despite the protestations there of Cleary, as Anto McCall and Noel McCaffrey there, one of the subs and the team doctor, issuing a little bit of encouragement. If they come in, can they win this match? There are 11 minutes to go. This is Kerrigan. John Cleary with space and time to set up an attack for Cork. Towards Dennis Allen. It comes off Allen, I think, rather than Hargan, but down as far as McDeegan. Kieran Duff here. Trying to go through two Cork challenges that time. Still Kieran Duff, and he'll have to release the ball quickly. He's held, jersey held, and he's got the free. Barry Coffey, the player who concedes it eventually. Barry was telling us that he's in for a bit of a slagging tomorrow if he doesn't win this match, because he works here in Dublin. Dave Foran. Curran. Good move by Dublin. The outside of the boot by Curran, however, fails to produce the score that the fans desire and the teams yearn for. Tommy Conroy is coming in, the tall substitute from St. Vincent's, giving the little slip of paper, and Mick Galvin, it seems, is the one who's making his way off. So number 15 called off by Jerry McCall, the team manager. Galvin failed to score this afternoon, despite setting up some good chances for others. Looking through the spread of scores for Dublin, Kieran Duff yet to score, McNally still to score also. Meanwhile, Paul Curran with a point to his credit. Foraging well down that left wing, and it's Tommy Conroy straight in the action. Can he make a difference? Teeing it in for Joe McNally, drops it down to Vinnie Murphy. Dublin needing a goal. Still Vinnie Murphy, and the referee says you're charged, and it's a free out. Vinnie, I'm sure, with thoughts in his head of maybe setting up a penalty or something like that, but the referee not entertaining the pleas. And Cork continue to lead by 4 points, and there are now 9 minutes remaining in this All-Ireland football semi-final, a place against Mayo at stake. Dave Barry taking it with comfort into the channel that time, stopped by Tommy Conroy, outside to the waiting Mick Slocum, punting it forward into the path of Paul McGrath. Mick Kennedy is there as well. Still Paul McGrath, lovely tight control, got a lovely point in the second half, this time trying to set one up for someone of the other forwards. John O'Driscoll maybe, or Tompkins, taking it in his stride and putting it wide of the target. Larry not quite as influential in this semi-final. O'Leary's kick to the centre, and it's down from Larry Tompkins as far as Paul Clark, who's certainly given his all, towards Joe McNally, takes it down beautifully, he's got support inside, Duff is calling for it, still McNally, agonisingly wide of the target. A glorious second half chance, produces a 45, but it might so well have produced a Dublin goal. It was a super catch by McNally inside in a ruck of players that also included Vinnie Murphy, getting there ahead of Davis and Kerrigan. And watch as that ball went wide thanks to the goalkeeper's fine save. Kearns then really producing the best piece of goalkeeping in the match so far. A 45, Barney Rock poised to take it. 4 points the margin, Dublin trailing. 7.5 minutes left. And that's one back. Barney's 5th point. And Anto McCall is getting ready to come into the action for Dublin as Barney Rock makes it 2-8 to 1-8. Anto McCall, number 19, played in the semi-final 6 years ago, and Barney Rock is the one who's been called ashore, it seems. Well, not too often does Barney get called off in championship matches. He got 5 points in all. But Dublin obviously satisfied that if they need a free taker, they have men in their ranks who can take those vital late scores or late frees. Let's see. Vinnie Murphy, 3 points, the difference. It's come down off the post to the waiting Conor Coonahan. And once again, Cork breathe a sigh of relief. This is Coonahan. Here he's under it. Dublin now ready for a grandstand challenge. They want to stay in the championship. They believe they can. 14 men as they've played with 14 right throughout the second half. It's Clark once again. He was given the free outside the 45-metre line. And it's Kieran Duff still to score in the match. Kearns who produced a great save, and the upright which saved Cork just a few minutes ago. Dublin now pressing home, playing with heart and determination. It's Paul Clark with accuracy, and there's now just 2 points between the teams thanks to Paul Clark, his 2nd point. So one wonders now, will history repeat itself? Against 14 men last year, the final, as you well know, did not go Cork's way. Against 14 men in the semi-final, these Dublin fans will not see their team go down. 5 minutes to go in an engrossing semi-final. It's Tompkins. Conroy challenges. O'Driscoll's unmarked. And he punishes the error. A point by John O'Driscoll. That's his 1st point. Each and every one of the Cork forwards has now scored. So Cork ahead by 3 points again. And it's Jerry Horgan to take the ball out of defence. And what a semi-final it's turning out to be.
What a semi-final indeed. Very often we say when a team have a man extra, how did they deploy him? Well, Cork have done it right, it would appear, with Larry Tompkins. You couldn't pick a better man to be the free man.
As Tommy Carr finds Anto McCall, his 1st touch. Slap pass, however. Vinnie Murphy challenges, Barry Coffey does well. An intelligent player, using his brain now, finding Eamon Heary, the wing back. You would think that Dublin had the extra player. That's wide of the target when they so badly needed it. It remains Cork 3 points ahead, a goal ahead, 2-9 to 1-9. On my watch, 4 minutes remaining. It's Larry Tompkins who gets it, despite the trip, from the kick-out. To Slocum. Dublin challenging for everything. But Cork composed, finding gaps and finding their men. And it's Dave Barry, his side, 3 points up. Trying to put another point between them and perhaps a little bit more daylight. That's John O'Leary comfortably taking that shot at goal outside to Paul Curran. Nice balance and control. And the 20-year-old advances a good 30 metres. Still Paul Curran, but the Dublin forwards now needing the pass inside. And then he touched the ball on the ground and it was a throw rather than an illegal hand pass. And it puts the pressure right back on the Dublin defence. Barry Coffey will be the kicker, it seems. No, it's Larry Tompkins who's going to take responsibilities. 3 minutes remaining. Dublin, who've not lost a semi-final since 1965 when Kerry defeated them, and since then they've had 10 memorable wins, but now really under pressure as they've been with their 14 men And as Tommy Carr mysteriously punches it backwards, but gets the return from an alert John O'Leary. O'Leary has settled down well in the second half. His confidence must have taken a shattering. This is McDeegan, adventurously carrying it in forward as far as Eamon Heary. Leaving it inside for Joe McNally, getting there ahead of Jimmy Kerrigan. Anto McCall. And it's very wide of the target. Dublin have had their chances in the second half, of that there's no doubt. 2 minutes remaining now. And there haven't been too many stoppages in the second half. The sunlight now in Croke Park, and the sun shining brightest of all for Cork, the Munster champions. Jerry Hargan fly kicking it away with the left foot as far as Shea Fahy, however. Still Fahy. And the referee, I think, going to throw the ball in between Dave Foran and Shea Fahy. At least that would have been the intention. Larry Tompkins says, I'll take a free if you like. No, you don't, says Mickey Kearns. It reaches Larry Tompkins. Trying to link up with Dave Barry, cut out by a vigilant Paul Curran. But a very slack clearance. So with just over a minute to go, it would seem to be Cork. Jerry McCall, bitterly disappointed, no doubt. Controversial moments in the first half. But Cork, the more composed side, despite the pressure coming from Dublin in the second half, and they've got the vital scores. Is it to be a first ever Cork-Mayo All-Ireland football final? Paul McGrath finding Larry Tompkins. Fouled. The more it goes on, the more it seems it certainly will be a first ever Cork-Mayo final. If that's the case, not one of the 4 competing teams in the hurling of football finals would have a senior All-Ireland medal winner in their ranks. I wonder has that happened for a long, long time. 25 seconds remaining on my watch. Larry Tompkins, with 2 points to his credit, curls it. And that's another beauty. That surely now will seal Cork's victory. The Dublin fans beginning to leave their seats now in the Hogan stand, disappointed no doubt. Heary. And the sideline kick favouring Cork. We're in injury time. 4 points the margin. Slocum the taker. That breaks down to Paul Clark, who started all the scoring. Vinnie Murphy. And a Cork ball. The game now well into time added on for injuries. Billy Morgan with a word there in the ear of Larry Tompkins. Driven deep. And it's Cork for the final in 4 weeks' time. Cheered on by the Cork subs and by their fans now getting ready to invade Croke Park. They overcome the challenge presented by Dublin. Dublin, who were reduced to 14 men when Keith Barr was sent off on the call of half-time. And it's Cork who win in the end by 4 points. The final score, which the Cork fans will rejoice in, was Cork 2-10, Dublin 1-9. Cork's growing maturity, character and commitment was not to be outdone, and they booked their place in the final for the 3rd successive year. But will it be a 3rd time lucky? This time it's Mayo who provide the opposition. Sean Haughey, the Mayor of Dublin there, disappointed I'm sure, and that's Donal O'Sullivan of the Cork County Board and the Munster Council commiserating with him, but it was Cork's day.
Yes, Cork's day again. Mickey Kearns' half-time lecture encouraged the second half in which football prevailed. Larry Tompkins being used as the free man by Cork was the master move that probably won it for them. Had Dublin won it, I would have said Joe McNally's second half performance was the turning key. As it was, another good day for Cork football.
So then Cork go through to the All-Ireland final. We go to a commercial break, but we have more to talk about before we leave Croke Park here today. So join us again in just a moment.